Welcome back to Penguin Audio Book Break. This week, Julia Cameron shares the 2 creative practices she coined in the artist's way and popularized the world over: morning pages and artist dates.
Putnam Berkeley Audio presents The Artist's Way, a spiritual path to higher creativity, written and presented by Julia Cameron. When people ask me what I do, I usually answer, I'm a writer-director, and I teach these creativity workshops. The last one interests them. How can you teach creativity, they want to know. I can't, I tell them. I teach people to let themselves be creative. So what do? This book is what I do. I've taught artists and non-artists, painters and filmmakers and homemakers and lawyers, anyone interested in living more creatively through practicing an art. Even more broadly, anyone interested in practicing the art of creative living. I have seen blocks dissolved and lives transformed by the simple process of engaging the great Creator in discovering and recovering our creative powers. The great Creator? That sounds like some Native American god. That sounds too Christian, too New Age, too simple, threatening. I know. Think of it as an exercise in open-mindedness. When the word God is used on this tape, you may substitute the thought good, orderly direction, or flow. The point is not what you name it. The point is that you try using it. For many of us, thinking of it as a form of spiritual electricity has been a useful jumping-off place. I've come to believe that creativity is our true nature, that blocks are an unnatural thwarting of a process at once as normal and as miraculous as the blossoming of a flower at the end of a slender green stem. In a sense, your creativity is like your blood. Just as blood is a fact of your physical body and nothing you invented, creativity is a fact of your spiritual body and nothing you must invent. Just as doing hatha yoga stretches alters consciousness when all you're doing is stretching, doing the exercises on this tape alter consciousness when all you're doing is writing and playing. Do these things and a breakthrough will follow, whether you believe in it or not, whether you call it a spiritual awakening or not. No matter what your age or your life path, whether making art is your career or your hobby or your dream, it's not too late or too egotistical or too selfish or too silly to work on your creativity. Now, I began teaching the creativity workshops in New York. One minute I was walking in the West Village on a cobblestone street with beautiful afternoon light. The next minute, I suddenly knew that I should begin teaching people, groups of people, how to unblock. Maybe it was a wish exhaled on someone else's walk. I need to unblock, someone may have breathed out. I know how to do it, I may have responded, picking up the cue. My life has always included strong internal directives. Marching orders, I call them. In any case, I suddenly knew that I did know how to unblock people, starting then and there with the lessons I myself had learned. Where did the lessons come from? In 1978, in January, I stopped drinking. The week I got sober, I had 2 national magazine pieces out, a newly minted feature script, and an alcohol problem I could not handle any longer. I told myself that if sobriety meant no creativity, I did not want to be sober. Yet I recognized that drinking would kill me and the creativity. I needed to learn to write sober, or else give up writing entirely. You could say necessity, not virtue, was the beginning of my spirituality. I was forced to find a new creative path, and that's where my lessons began. I learned to turn my creativity over to the only God I could believe in, the God of creativity, the life force Dylan Thomas called the force that through the green fuse drives the flower. I learned to get out of the way and let that creative force work through me. Now, in retrospect, I am astounded that I could let go of the drama of being a suffering artist. Nothing dies harder than a bad idea, and few ideas are worse than the ones we have about art. Providentially, I was sent another blocked writer to work with, and on, at this time. He too began to unblock. Soon I had another victim, this one a painter. The tools worked for visual artists too. Enter the marching orders. I was to teach. My first class, blocked painters, novelists, poets, and filmmakers, assembled itself. I began teaching them the lessons that are now in this book. Since that class, there have been many others, and many more lessons as well. The Artist's Way book began as informal class notes mandated by my partner, Mark Bryan. Write it all down. You can help a lot of people. It should be a book. The resulting pages emerged as a blueprint for do-it-yourself recovery. Like mouth-to-mouth resuscitation or the Heimlich maneuver, the tools in this book are intended as lifesavers. Please use them, and please pass them on. Let's begin by talking about spiritual electricity. Here are the basic principles. Those who speak in spiritual terms routinely refer to God as the creator, but seldom see creator as the literal term for artist. I'm suggesting you take the term creator quite literally. You're seeking to forge a creative alliance, artist to artist, with the great creator. What we're talking about is an induced or invited spiritual experience. I refer to this process as spiritual chiropractic. As you work with the tools on this tape, as you undertake the weekly tasks, many changes will be set in motion. Chief among these changes will be the triggering of synchronicity. We change, and the universe furthers and expands that change. I've got an irreverent shorthand for this that I keep taped to my writing desk. Leap, and the net will appear. It's my experience both as an artist and as a teacher that when we move out on faith into the act of creation, the universe is able to advance. It's a little like opening the gate at the top of a field irrigation system. Once we remove the blocks, the flow moves in. Again, I don't ask you to believe this. I simply ask you to observe and note this process as it unfolds. The following spiritual principles are the bedrock on which creative recovery and discovery can be built. 1. Creativity is the natural order of life. Life is energy, pure creative energy. 2. There is an underlying, indwelling creative force infusing all of life, including ourselves. 3. When we open ourselves to our creativity, we open ourselves to the Creator's creativity within us and our lives. 4. It is safe to open ourselves up to greater and greater creativity. 5. Our creative dreams and yearnings come from a divine source. As we move toward our dreams, we move toward our divinity. Now, there are a number of ways to use this tape. Some students have done the course solo. Others have formed circles to work through the process together. No matter which way you choose, the Artist's Way will work for you. The tape covers a 12-week course. It includes 12 chapters. Each chapter has essays, exercises, and tasks. But don't be daunted. Much of the work is really play. You may want to listen once through to the entire tape and then begin. For a fuller explanation of all of the tasks, you may want to refer to the Artist's Way text. You probably won't have time to complete all of the tasks given in any week. Try to do about half. Pick those that appeal to you and those you most strongly resist. Leave the neutral ones for later. You can always go back. Make a time commitment, an hour a day, slightly more if you choose. This modest commitment to using the tools can yield tremendous results within the 12 weeks of the course. However, the same tools used over a longer period can alter the trajectory of a lifetime.